Hello again everyone, DC Wood here once more. The last Arrowverse review that I did was for Freedom Fighters for Ray Season 2, and I am going to review The Flash Season 5 very soon, I promise. But I just thought to take a break to share my thoughts on the Arrowverse as a whole, how far it's come and how much longer can it possibly keep going, or rather, how much longer should it keep going. 2012 was when a brand spanking new TV show hit our screens called Arrow. Right away, it was awesome, focusing on DC Comics' Emerald Archer and starring Stephen Amell. Arrow's first season took the whole world by storm. And then Season 2 came along, and it was even more amazing. And then a spin-off emerged in 2014 called The Flash, featuring Grant Gustin taking on the title role of DC Comics' Scarlet Speedster. It's hard to believe that here and now in 2022, it's been 10 years since Arrow Season 1 kickstarted this amazing superhero universe on television. It's grown beyond what anyone could have ever imagined. So many shows, so many crossovers, like the DC animated universe and the Marvel Cinematic Universe before it. It's all grown to a staggering level. But obviously nothing lasts forever. Where can this go next? More to the point, it should know when to stop, and this is my personal viewpoint. As I've said before in previous reviews, when I came onto the Arrowverse ship as a late passenger, and the first show I watched was actually Supergirl Season 1. I purchased that DVD in 2016, because I always liked the Supergirl character, and after watching this new show, I loved it straight away. Especially the crossover with The Flash. I became hooked, and I started watching and exploring everything there was to see in this canon. And after Supergirl, it was Legends of Tomorrow Season 1 for me, and despite the flaws, it was another brilliant round of television. It was Doctor Who meets the Avengers, get in! And the rest was history, really. I was purchasing these DVDs left, right and centre. I binged through the first 2 seasons of Arrow and the Flash, and I couldn't get enough of these DC superhero shows. I was being properly introduced to superheroes, supervillains and characters I hadn't had much exposure to in comics or cartoons prior to this. And not only was it a learning experience, it was also thrilling for me. In those early seasons for the Arrowverse shows like Arrow, The Flash and Supergirl, it was 20 plus episodes, which is far too much for a single TV series. I will never ever deny that. And yet, the pacing, the writing, the performances, the characterization and development, the special effects in all of these shows were magnificent to behold. I loved it all so much, especially Legends with its batch of approximately 16 episodes per season. The crossovers they all envisioned. It was the television equivalent of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which I also really loved. But there were times in my life when I was also battling really bad depression and anxiety, so the Arrowverse helped me deal with all that. It helped take my mind off things. Now, even though I consider myself an Arrowverse loyalist after all this time, I am aware that this whole medium, this whole spectrum, has had plenty of things to find fault with. I think the biggest problem with the Arrowverse is that it peaked straight away. Those first 2 seasons of Arrow and The Flash in particular are still the crown jewel for the Arrowverse. Those are all in my top 4 seasons overall. And it was after that that The Flash and Arrow started to go off the rails. In the case of Arrow Season 3, the first half was amazing, and the second half just nosedived spectacularly. I still watched Arrow Season 4 in the hope that it would get better, in the hope that it would become amazing and enthralling again. But alas, it just fell even further until it plummeted right to the bottom. The Flash Season 3 also fell to the dark side and became a shell of what this amazing show used to be, and it got arguably even worse in Season 4. The trouble is, we fans were all spoiled rotten straight away, to the point where we all expected and demanded perfection non-stop from every other season of these shows, and that's just too much to ask. because history has proven no matter what the TV show or film series, you can't keep up that high level of consistency forever. But despite those bumps in the road, I still played catch up for the Arrowverse because A, I wanted to see what all the other shows were like, and B, I had hope that those shows that fell from grace would ultimately redeem themselves. And for me, those hopes were justified. Since Arrow Season 5 in particular, that was a terrific return to form, with Oliver Queen's journey coming full circle, the amazing Prometheus conflict, and the show successfully returning to its roots. The Flash would take longer to find its way back, but it did so with an absolutely great sixth season. I loved The Flash Season 6. That focused on a stronger story arc structure. It focused on brilliant new baddies like Bloodwork and the Mirror Mistress, and it utilised 2019's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover to brilliant effect. All the while I watched Constantine, I fell in love with that show and was so pleased that Matt Ryan's rendition of the character transitioned over to Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow after Constantine itself was prematurely cancelled. For all the ups and downs these shows have endured, I've still embarked on this roller coaster journey because overall I still loved it. Even bad seasons of Arrow and the Flash had essential episodes to tune into, like, i.e., for example, The Climb from Arrow Season 3 and Enter Flash Time from Flash Season 4. Legends of Tomorrow was growing from strength to strength as well. That show peaked with the outstanding second and third seasons, and even though that too fell off the rails with the abysmal Seasons 4 and 5, I still remember the good more than the bad. Of all the Arrowverse shows I've spent these last, coming up to 6 years watching, Supergirl is the most consistent to me. Yes, I will admit it, and I'm proud to admit it. Seasons 1 to 3 were great. From a creative standpoint, Season 4 was the show's absolute best season. And really, it was only when I started watching Supergirl Season 5 that I thought, I think it's time for things to wind down now. So really, that begs the question, when did I personally start getting fatigued by all of this? For all the ups and downs, all these new superhero shows and movies from both DC and Marvel coming along one after the next, we've got superheroes coming up the wazoo now, month after month, year after year. Outside of DC's Arrowverse, there was, of course, the Marvel Netflix shows. There's still the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's still going after 14 years. Warner Brothers have, of course, got their DC movies and TV shows. They've got a great deal on HBO Max. There's Disney Plus, which has been releasing a whole new wave of Marvel shows. There's too much content to choose from now. It's overwhelming, and I can't believe I'm saying this being such a massive superhero fan, but it's true. Something's got to give, and I feel like maybe it's the Arrowverse's time to start winding down now. And I think I started feeling the effects shortly after 2019-2020's Crisis on Infinite Earths concluded, and the coronavirus pandemic exploded shortly after. Arrow Season 8 was bloody excellent, and the perfect ending to Oliver Queen's story, just like Avengers Endgame was the perfect ending to Tony Stark's story in the MCU. In Crisis, the single gravest threat that all of those heroes ever faced had been vanquished. From a creative standpoint, that was the absolute peak you could take that universe and its players. After that, where'd you go? The only direction really you can go is down, as in beginning to wind down. And two episodes after Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's what Arrow did, bowing down in a blaze of glory. When COVID-19 shut down production of Warner Brothers television in 2020, I was annoyed that the exciting new landscape for the Arrowverse had been curtailed, but that also made me see the cracks really starting to split wide open. Black Lightning, of all the seasons I've seen for that show, it was another winner. I really loved it. I had the chance to finally watch Black Lightning when I was furloughed, and I really enjoyed seasons 1 and 3. But then that show, of course, finished last year with season 4. And of course, Supergirl also concluded last year with its 6th season. And then, of course, the fact remains is that ratings for all these Arrowverse shows, they gradually decline over time. I mean, when Arrow and the Flash first started, they were averaging about 3-4 million viewers a week. When Supergirl first started, that was averaging 6 million viewers a week on CBS before it moved to the CW. Black Lightning and Legends of Tomorrow were both averaging 2 million viewers a week initially. But inevitably, viewers all switch off and these shows become a shell of what they used to be. And it really does show. When ratings decline, they don't have the support budget that they used to. The effects for The Flash, Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow were subsequently no longer as consistent or as amazing as they were in their initial seasons. The pacing of the storytelling is staggered now. It all no longer feels as fresh as it once did. Then, of course, there was Batwoman, which has been regarded by many as the first true fail that the CW has produced for the Arrowverse. When I first started watching Batwoman, I will admit I struggled through the first half of season 1, and then it changed gears and became a great show midway through. But the ratings again dropped rapidly after Crisis on Infinite Earths. Then Ruby Rose, the show's lead, left the show after season 1 in a sea of controversy. I tried watching Batwoman season 2 when Javisha Leslie took on the role. I got through the first half of season 2 before I gave up on it. I still haven't watched the second half of season 2, and then I tuned into all 4 to see the first half of Batwoman season 3 just out of curiosity's sake, and I've got to be honest, that was an improvement over what I've seen of season 2. That was a good show, and I might finish off and watch the rest of season 3 when I get the chance, but so far I am rapidly running out of reasons to keep tuning into Batwoman, and I feel like I'm watching Batwoman for loyalty's sake now more than anything else. A lot of people have recommended Stargirl to me, and that takes place on Earth 2 in the post-crisis Arrowverse. But while there are moments of charm, being honest, I've watched all of Stargirl season 1. While it has moments of charm, it hasn't knocked me for 6. It hasn't taken my breath away like The Flash, Supergirl and Legends and Arrow did when they all first started. I haven't been able to get into Stargirl at all, really. Visually, it's an impressive show. It's got arguably the best CGI in the entire Arrowverse. It's certainly got the biggest budget currently speaking, but I wasn't absolutely enthralled with the overall arc, and it doesn't have that epic wow factor that the other shows did when they peaked. I mean, it only really, Stargirl season 1, it only really got interesting in the last 4 episodes of the season for me. So I'm not really interested in Stargirl season 2, and I know that there's meant to be this Naomi show on the horizon that Superman is meant to be guest starring in, but I'm not really fussed about that. All of the spin-offs have, like Painkiller and Green Arrow and the Canaries, they failed to materialise. The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow simply aren't what they used to be. So what's left? Really, that brings us on to Superman and Lois, the Supergirl spin-off, which features Tyler Hoechlin and Elizabeth Tulloch, again reprising their roles as Clark Kent and Lois Lane. Now, I've heard nothing but good things about this show, and I have started watching it. I've watched about 4 episodes of here in the UK on BBC iPlayer, and what can I say? So far, this is the shot that the shot in the arm that the Arrowverse needs. I've only, like I said, I've only watched 4 episodes of season 1 so far. I've still got a lot to catch up on, but what I have seen It's great. It's absolutely excellent. Superman and Lois is as amazing as Arrow and the Flash were when they first started. If Superman, from an acting standpoint, a pacing, a storytelling, and special effects are amazing in it. If Superman and Lois keeps up the high quality I've seen so far, I'm down for more, certainly. I loved both Tyler and Elizabeth as Superman and Lois in Supergirl. They won me over straight away. They truly are perfect casting, which is one of the things the Arrowverse has always excelled at. But how long do I think all this should continue? I really don't want the Arrowverse to go the way of The Simpsons and outstay its welcome, thus undoing all those happy memories of the canon's glory years. And it's not just the Arrowverse, it's the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well. After the Infinity Stone saga concluded with Endgame, where do you go from there? I mean, I loved Black Widow. I thought that was a great film. But I wasn't really fussed about seeing the Eternals or Shang-Chi. I'm interested to check out the Disney Plus shows maybe, but I don't know. I have seen Spider-Man No Way Home. That was absolutely amazing and one of the best Spider-Man films of all time, and I'm looking forward to seeing Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But how much longer should the Marvel Cinematic Universe also go on for? It's the same dilemma with the Arrowverse, Arrow, Black Lightning, Supergirl, Vixen, Freedom Fighters for Ray, Constantine. They've all had their day. Maybe it's time for The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Batwoman to realise that too. It's been a hell of a ride for well over 9 years, and of this point in time, it's coming on to 10 years in October. I've been thankful for the chance to review all of his shows too. Personally, I think it's best to go out on a high. Maybe Superman and Lois will be able to provide that. But what are your thoughts on the Arrowverse today and its tenure overall? Have you always been a fan? What were your favourite seasons from this spectrum, and when should it end? Please discuss in the comments below. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. Thank you so very much for subscribing, all of you. I appreciate that. Thanks all for your support, and see you again soon for my review of The Flash Season 5 and then Black Lightning Season 2. Stay safe as always, and TTFN. Peace.